Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, the #1 place for up-and-coming dancers, choreographers, and creatives. Now, whether you're planning a local pop-up or a larger scale event, it's important to know where to start and how to follow through all the way to the end. So in this video, I'll be going over how you can host a successful dance workshop, regardless of the amount of resources you might have or the length of your social reach. So if you want to host the best workshop possible, then keep on watching. So, important note before we get started. Not every workshop is meant to cap, and not every workshop is meant to make a bazillion dollars in that one class. Rarely should that even be the case. So while you're planning this workshop, be sure to go in with the proper expectations. You can't figure out everything, but you should know what you're getting into. Now, with that being said, let's go right into the first step. Step number 1 is to establish your purpose. Is this workshop for charity? Is it to raise money for a certain cause? Is it to help promote a specific teacher, to promote a specific style? Figure out why you're hosting this class or this workshop to begin with. Also recognize that the #1 priority is always the students. It's teaching the students and giving them something so that when they leave that workshop, when they leave that class, that they have something in the bag, that they're better than when they came in. Now, if you're just trying to make a ton of money in class, booking this giant room, charging 40, 50 bucks a head for an okay teacher at the expense of the students' money and time and energy, then just click out of this because you're probably in the wrong place to begin with. But yeah, establish your purpose first. Step number 2 is to determine your target audience. While it is nice to say that this class is open level and open for anyone and everyone, most of the time in reality, it isn't. You don't want situations where absolute beginners are getting absolutely wrecked, and you also don't want situations where your advanced dancers are bored out of their minds. Use indicators like a class level, right? Like beginner, intermediate, advanced. Maybe write up a brief breakdown of what's actually happening in the class, what the students will be doing throughout that 1 hour and a half or 3-hour intensive, whatever it might be. Target audiences can be divided up by skill level, by age, by music preferences, by style preferences, by location, by interest. The list can go on and on and on. Yes, cast that wide net, but cast it in the right pond to begin with, if you know what I mean. Now that you handled half of the room, the other half is the next step, and that is figuring out your teacher. If you, the organizer, are the teacher, then of course life is easier. You know exactly who you want to teach, you know what you're teaching, you know your own purpose. But if you have a guest teacher, it might be a little bit tougher, definitely not impossible, and very commonly done. Regardless of who the teacher is, let them know of your purpose, of your expectations, let them know of your target audience, and what they should expect going into teaching at your event or your pop-up, whatever it might be. Students shouldn't be left in the dark, and neither should your teachers. Important note is that as a class or workshop organizer, you need to pay and compensate your teachers properly. If you're planning on selling out this workshop and it does actually sell out, then you better be paying your teachers more than just 20 bucks and gas money. They're the ones running the show, and they're the ones ultimately bringing in the audience, bringing in the students into your workshop. So compensate them properly. And if you don't know where to start, then ask for their own personal rate. Yeah, it might range by, a couple $100 depending on who it is, but it should definitely be more than a $20 bill. Step 4 is location. Location, 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 location. In New York City, there are plenty of studios to choose from that rent out space. There's Gibney, there's Ripley, there is PMT Battery Dance in Chinatown. You can even go into Long Island City with the ballet school, with Cosmic Fitness, with RWS if you need a bigger space. Biggest things to look out for, in my opinion, are accessibility on the outside. Is there a subway train? Are there enough parking spots if they're driving? And then on the inside, is it exactly what you need for your class? Is there a proper sound system? Does it have the right floors, whether that's marley or hardwood? Do the mirrors actually go all the way across the room, or is it, in a small spot in the center? Is there AC? Is there proper air ventilation? These are all things that might not be super obvious when you look up the website, but they are things that you can figure out on your own if you call up the studio, email them, or just go in person and check it out for yourself. Sure, the studio space might be one of your heavier costs, considering you pretty much just have the studio space and the teacher that you have to pay for for the most part, but think of it as an investment as opposed to a cost. This space will literally account for 100% of the actual literal area and time and air and whatever it might be that your students and your teachers will be spending their time in for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it might be. And again, I can't stress that enough. Be sure to call that studio, email them, know exactly what you're getting into and what you're paying for. Now that your main costs are estimated, that being the teacher and the cost of the space, now you could start thinking about how much you want to charge your students for the class. Personally, I'm all about accessibility. I like keeping it as cheap as possible and not super about the end of the day profit, especially if this is more of like a local dance workshop. Try to be reasonable, have a specific profit margin in mind that can cover the cost of the teacher, cover the cost of the studio, and also just leave a little extra money in your own pocket so that you can go and do this again next time. It's definitely different in all different places, but at least in New York City, I typically see local dancers and individuals charge about $10 for their pop-up class over at Ripley. Established studios hover typically around $20 per class, which makes sense considering the service you get, the studio space, and the quality of their teachers typically. If you're approaching that $30 to $40 range for class per person, then try to reconsider where your costs are and what your priorities might be. Step 6 is to promote your workshop. Basic things you'll need for promotion are a flyer, typically for social media, maybe an event page either in the form of a Facebook page or a Instagram group, something that will just let people know, a place that people can look up by themselves without you actually reaching out, and individuals who are willing to help spread the word for you too. It's really hard to promote things if you're a single person trying to go through all your different channels to promote, so definitely hit up your friends, hit up individuals who might be able to help, and think of it more as a group activity to help get the word out for sure. The language and aesthetic of your promotions should match that of your target audience. Continue to keep in mind who this workshop is for, what do those people want, what do they expect. A big piece of advice is to think like the audience. Would I go to this workshop? Why would I go to this workshop? Is it close enough for me? Is it too out of reach? Is there a specific, holiday session coming up? Do I have a break from school? Does this class sound like something that I want to go to personally? On top of that, be sure to leverage different outlets besides Instagram. For the most part, I see a lot of people just using Instagram to promote, which can work in a lot of cases, but you're missing out on a lot of different other channels that you can be using to help promote your workshop. Examples of those other channels could be specific dance-oriented Facebook groups that people are in, leveraging local community influencers or organizations or leaders whom people respect their opinions and what they have to say, and even printing out a few of your flyers and posting them up at those studio rental places. Maybe it won't drive, a million people to your workshop, but it will catch the attention of those 1 or 2 people that may want to come. Definitely get creative in this sense when it comes to promotions because there's a lot of different ways to get the word out. Step 7 is to stay consistent and stay engaged all the way up until the workshop happens. I've seen a lot of cases where people create the event page or they release that flyer and that's it. They just release it into the universe and then do nothing with it. But what they should really be doing is engaging with their audience. They should be asking them questions, answering any questions that they might have, keeping the conversation going essentially. We already know how many different, ads and how many different things catch our attention all at once throughout a day. So it's important to help people refocus themselves and pay attention to the workshop that you've created. You don't need to shove it down their throats with a repost, every single hour of every single day. But a couple of friendly reminders for some key deadlines or some important times should be there. It could be that the workshop is in 3 days. The workshop is next week. Pre-sale closes tomorrow, things like that. Honestly, getting people hooked is the easy part, getting that initial awareness out is easy, but keeping them on the hook and keeping them interested and getting them all the way to the follow through is the tough part. So stay engaged. If you're really genuine for the cause, you'll do whatever you can to get people excited, get people moving, get people, signing up through pre-sale. You'll make it happen. And that gets us all the way to step 8, which is the day of. And honestly, my biggest piece of advice is to just relax and enjoy. Of course, that doesn't mean do nothing. You know, do what you need to do, pay the studio, pay the teachers, you know, get all those logistical kinks out of the way. But after that, just relax, let the teacher do their thing, talk to the students before class, you know, stay engaged all the way till the end. Oftentimes, you as the organizer and sometimes you as the teacher, it's your job to establish the type of vibe that you want for your workshop. If you're in the back and you're panicking and you're kind of stressed, trying to get everyone to show up, you're not sure if people are coming or not, people feel that vibe, you know, people can read that from you. So keep it chill, keep it relaxed, and establish the vibe that you want. If you're out there happy, you're talking to people, you're engaging with people, and you know, everything feels super nice, super welcoming, then people will feel good about the type of environment, about the workshop, you know, before they even step into that room. And a final quick step number 9, step number 8.5, whatever it is to just close it all out, wrap things up. Double and triple check that everything is paid for, that the studio is all cleaned up, that everyone is all happy, everyone paid, everything is good to go. And then once you're out of that room, you turned off the AC, closed the windows, turned off the lights, just go on your merry way. Oftentimes the vibe doesn't end at the workshop. You know, maybe there's an opportunity to get dinner with the community, you know, get dinner with some of the students, with the teachers, connect in some sort of a way. You know, who knows? And yeah, while it might seem like there's a lot more to hosting a workshop than it seems like on the surface, the process really isn't as bad once you get into it, especially if you're doing it more than once. And if you don't want to plan it alone, then definitely hit up one of your friends, hit up someone who has experience or has had experience with hosting a workshop, and help divide up these steps together. Now be sure to like this video if it helped in any sort of a way, subscribe if you like this content, and if you need more resources in the future. And of course, leave a comment down below, continue the conversation. What are some things that you do to host a successful dance workshop, whether that's a, you know, tiny community event or a big large-scale convention even. Like I said, I updated the description down below, so be sure to check out all these new things that I've provided just for you guys. Just drop your email and your name and you'll get sent all this new stuff that I've been working on. With that being said, I hope to see y'all, you know, making your own classes, making your own workshops, hosting your own things. Yeah, you guys can do it. Cool. Yeah, that's it. Peace, peace. You're